We are indeed live, and we are live streaming. And we've got, of course, our standing friend, Miss Alicia Peaton from Phoenix Partners NC. And she's here. I've got
Yes.
some amazing women on tonight. Listen, I just wanted to do something. I think that you guys are amazing, but I wanted to really talk to some community people. I really wanted to talk to community. And so I think that there are some amazing people doing some great things. And one of those people is Casey Corder. She is she is a professional in the mental health world as a program manager, and she is doing what we all are supposed to be doing. She has invested herself and her time in her community. And she's going to share with us a little bit about the things that she's doing, why she's doing it, how it's working out.
Oh my gosh.
And
I feel like you I feel really bad right now because my reasons for doing things was a little selfish because I needed to do something for my mental health.
Don't we all?
And so I feel really bad because I'm like, oh gosh, now I feel like everything I really did was selfish because if I didn't do something, I was going to lose my mind.
No, listen, I think in the world of mental health, it's called positive selfishness. And so I think that it's good to have a little bit of positive selfishness. We definitely need that right about now, especially if it's really going to affect our entire community. So listen, I'm not going to keep you guys long tonight, but I definitely wanted to dive into a few things. And that is, have you guys seen these polling numbers?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So let me calm down. So I can let's dive into. So I'm at the state website, right? And I'm looking at some data on the statewide turnout. Okay, are you guys ready for this? As of 5:20, I think, this morning. Yeah, 5 a.m. this morning, August 20th, 2020. In North Carolina, 1,803,540 votes.
Yes.
Right? It's 1853. So it's like 1,853,54. Right? Like, do I need to come here and get Nicholas?
And we're only in day 3 of voting.
Yes!
Day 4 of voting. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Calm down. It's calm down.
That's right.
So total turnout is about 25%, 25.38%. So we've got mail-in ballots that's been cast, 641,446. And let me tell you about y'all bad. Casey can fill in the blanks. I've given Casey full throttle tonight.
Oh, watch my language.
I left my mask is in the car. Oh my goodness. That beautiful mask that I wear about voting rights and demanding, Casey made that first, but I'm gonna let her tell what she's doing in a little bit. So listen, this one stop ballot where we're going in and we're seeing lines. I don't know if anyone saw my Facebook Live.
Yeah.
We're seeing lines wrapped around buildings everywhere. 1,212,094 North Carolinians cast their ballots.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
That is so exciting.
It is one of the most brilliant, amazing things I have seen in a very, 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 very long time. And so definitely, we've got some folks that's excited. Talk to us, Facebook. Talk to us, definitely. And so that's the thing that I wanted to share about polls, right? So we're talking about these polls, we're talking about early voting. Remember to go to your county board of education not Board of Education, excuse me, County Board of Elections. Let me get it together. Education is always on my mind, isn't it? County Board of Elections to find out where your early voting sites are across North Carolina. Find it out.
Yes.
Keep these numbers growing. I was going
Yes.
to break down some stuff about data, and we've got some past turnouts and things like that I was looking at as well on the state site. If you kind of trying to figure out where to go to get to it, just always go to theoverflow.network and just scroll down to where you'll see register, update voter registration. Just click on that link right there where it says check it here, and you'll be able to take you directly to the state board of elections to be able to see some of this data and click on those statistics and data, and people, you can see it grow. We can watch it grow, because I'm only going to see people next Tuesday. So what is next Tuesday? That's one more. How many? We have 2 more weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yep.
So next
2
Tuesday,
weeks.
the 27th, we're going to see where these numbers are by next Tuesday. And then election day is November 3rd. And we got to figure out how to have a good old watch party.
There we go.
At 9 o'clock. So I'm excited about people using their right to suffrage. I mean, really.
It's exciting. It is.
I've never seen anything like it. I can't get it out of my head. And I keep talking about these polls. So please go vote. Whoever you vote for. I don't even care. I just happen to see people doing something. Even if you stand on sides that in my world makes no sense, do something. Extra,
right.
you know, if not, don't say anything to me. That's the first question. I think my new friendship status with people is, do you vote? If you don't vote, something wrong with you. Something's wrong with you, and I don't need you, because I'm trying to bring about change. So listen, Casey.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us some of these things that you're doing.
Okay. Well, so the first thing that I did a couple months ago, when I read an article saying that there was going to be a shortage in poll workers, and I knew that if there's a shortage in poll workers, then that's really going to impact certain communities, probably not mine. And so that meant that certain locations wouldn't be open. I knew that's what was going to happen. And I feel like, one of the first things that we have to do is make sure that those barriers to voting aren't there.
Right.
And in my head, the first way that I could do that was to register to go work at the polls.
Look at that.
So I did that. And I will be at Lufkin Road on November 2nd for setup, and 3rd all day for voting. So I really hope that I'll get home by 9 o'clock to watch with you, but I don't know that I will.
That's probably not gonna happen.
Because I'm really I'm in my head, I keep hearing people say, there's so many people turning out to vote before that it won't be real busy on election day, but that's true. I feel like at 7:30, there's going to be a line wrapped around buildings, and that when polls close, there will still be, a lot of people who are going to come in to cast their votes.
I believe that wholeheartedly, and I first want to give you claps and kudos.
Yes.
You and so many other people. I know friends of mine, like Dr. Terrence Ruth, he's out at the Barwell Road early voting community place. He's out there working and supporting and giving people data and information, whatever they need, or whatever his roles are there. I know that great friends like Yvonne Brennan, she's over at I believe she's at State Tally Center doing some things, and I think she still might be trying to get some coverage out there. I've been able to assist even young college students from Central who have projects, and their, friends are reaching out to me and say, hey, Toshiba, can you help, young people be engaged and complete their assignments? And so I think that it's amazing for those of us who might be in a little bit better health and shape, so that we can protect our elderly, who typically
Yep.
work those polls. I remember
Yeah.
having a conversation with Casey saying, we can't let these elderly people go to these polls. And so the fact that she and so many others have stepped up to the plate to fill that need, I'm looking, it was a difference. It was a little difference. I saw a little bit possibly younger crowd working the polls when I went to go do early voting. So we did see that a little bit. Very thankful for those who have worked polls prior to us in many years, who have really, that I'm sure they look forward to that every single year. And so I really am thankful for them. So Casey, another question that I wanted to ask you is, how many of them during masks you done made?
Okay, so I counted a couple of days ago, because I was bagging some up to send to my sister's church when they do their food drive. 480.
Wow.
Now you see why I asked you about those darn masks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Casey is doing that. I think that is amazing. And then she's giving them away.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because everybody needs them.
They do.
Yeah.
And I know.
I had people donate fabric. And so, I would give them masks and they would donate fabric back to me. And so it just kind of,
was a labor of love,
Yes.
that because time is something that we can't put, a dollar amount on. And so I think that that's still amazing to do that, though.
It is. And Alicia, I have to apologize to you now. I have another great friend. I'm surrounded by great friends.
Oh, I know. That's why I stay connected to you.
No, I'm saying I have to apologize because probably a month ago, maybe a little more, my friend Lisa Rogers told me to come pick up. Her family also is making masks. And so, I mean, they have them and honey, they make theirs more like the N95 kind of style. And I mean, they have them Carolina Panthers, all kinds of, my granddaughter has Elmo. So they're really doing some great things. And I watch my friend Lisa, and I watch her in just whatever time that she might have. I'll be like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm just sitting here just, prepping and preparing some more masks to be made. And so I think that it's amazing that people are just coming together in unity and in love and are just looking out for people, whether people are doing it to give away, whether people are finding it as a new business source, which is fine. To do it. I think that it's absolutely amazing that people are even caring enough to recognize that this is needed. We saw numbers in Wake County go up a few weeks, last week, I believe it was, where we hit in 24 hours about over 1,700 and then 24 deaths. And we watched our health director come and tell us about wearing those masks and how it really does stop the spread. And I was on a call earlier today where we got some data from Wake County, which is where all of us happen to live. I know we speak to a broader audience, so sometimes I have to say where we're talking about. And so they were sharing about disparities within those numbers and things like that, where Casey made a case in point, no pun intended.
It's so silly.
About where making sure that people are at polls that where some people may not work, and to be there. And so I was really excited to share particularly about those numbers. We're going to keep talking about those numbers. And so since we're talking about, we've talked about polls and where those numbers are and what people need to do, I want to dive into a little bit about politics. and the politics of it all. One thing I saw today, I don't know if you guys saw this, it was an article around Breonna Taylor. Did anyone see that today?
Mm-mm.
About
I
the
didn't catch
Kentucky
that.
judge? Yeah.
Mhm.
The Kentucky judge, I believe, has released the data. I can do a little screen share, I reckon,
Okay.
so that our amazing folks can see it. I believe that's what we have. So yeah, so
Oh,
we
wow.
yeah, exactly, right. This is what we have. And so I saw this article and I was like, wow. And so it had here too that a juror kind of spoke out. And then you have a video attached that talks about why the Kentucky judge was able to rule Breonna Taylor's grand jurors can speak publicly. And I think that's what a lot of people wanted to know. They wanted to know why,
Right.
what was really happened with that grand jury. So I'm not completely familiar with that. I think in the times and months to come, because we only have a few more episodes left for before we take our winter break. So we'll
Mm-hmm.
end, the last episode will be November 17th.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to go through the election, have two more episodes, and then we'll take a break until January. I know y'all gonna miss us, but
Are you really going to take a break if the election isn't?
Stuff is going to be heating up,
If it's
right?
yeah, you
I'm with
really
her on that.
yeah. You
Yeah.
think that's a good time to take a break?
if you guys promise to be on the line with me and have these conversations.
So yeah, in other words, this is that all that was just a tentative statement, right? And
Okay.
I agree with you. I agree with you that there's going to be. I mean, we're going to be in almost like phase 2 of other things, because one of the things that I think that it continues to be important is that while we've lit people on fire about the thing now, and we're coming to almost this pinnacle of the voting on the 3rd. The work just got started, and we can't let people rest on their laurels that there's more conversation, that this is ongoing in between the elections, because that's how we got here. I think most people only vote in the presidential elections and all the stuff that happens in the 2 years in between. And I think that your platform can be pivotal. It's like we can't sleep now on a whole lots of issues. So no, you don't get any time off. Sorry.
Okay, so Alicia has spoken. There is no time off.
No.
That's true. I agree with Alicia.
Okay, so you guys agree, and we're gonna work on that, and we're gonna make sure that we have, because I think it's a lot of content and conversation that we have to have. I think it's important.
Yes.
You are right. It is important, and let me tell you why it's important. It's important because of these candidates.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to, it's my show. It's Talking with T. Rice, and I'm gonna tell the truth. Now, I have some candidates that I just favor. Why? Because they're honest, they're truthful, and they are really trying to help people, regardless of what side of the aisles you're on, right? Regardless of what you might think, they, in my perspective, really sincerely say, hey, these are, and I'm talking about my local election right now, because local politics means a lot to me. These presidents and stuff is kind of cool, but my local folks, my state, and
that's what moves our
that's
money.
my bread and butter, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And so one candidate that I want to talk about tonight really is one of our commissioners that I absolutely adore, and that is Vicki Adamson. I know firsthand that Vicki, no matter who people are, what they do, she's really about making sure that all Wake County citizens are served. I've watched her put forth efforts to make sure that African American businesses are being able to have more of a seat at the table, and so that matters to me, primarily because I'm a Black woman, and and it matters to me, and I'm a business owner, and so being able to see that, the fact that I know that she cares about education, I know that she cares about the environment, I know that she cares about people's livelihoods and overall really being well. And so I'm thankful to have people like that as a county commissioner that I trust. that I certainly am proud to say I voted for on the first day of early voting. You know, I didn't quite go in there when that line was wrapped around that building. At first, you don't succeed. Try.
I saw that. Yeah.
About 3 o'clock to determine that. And so I want to say hats off to Commissioner Adams. I wish her well. Oh my goodness. I'm looking in the chat and did not realize. Okay, so how about Commissioner Adams? I believe is even watching us because she said good evening. So it's good to know people are out there watching.
Yes.
Yes, I love, oh my goodness. So we got some great folks out there. Tawana Hetton's even watching, talking about keeping the momentum. Kids is waving high, spread the word, and things like that. So listen, yes, some people that I believe in for me, and I want you guys to possibly, if you feel comfortable, share about some candidates that you may have read about and thought was interesting or who you believe in. But for me, Vicki Adamson is one that I truly support on my local level. And I'm just going to name a few. Susan Evans is someone that I strongly support. And that's also Commissioner West is someone that I strongly support. And then there's just a few people. I'm not mentioning everybody that I voted for, but it's just a few key people that I felt passionate about because they've been proving themselves and I've seen some of their work over the years. And so I appreciate that. And so I really would love to see our state offices take flight. Have you seen the ones about, I think that I had a flyer that came. Have you guys seen it? That where it's they were talking about their Fave 5. And it's historical. So we're talking about all these Black women that would be in our state executive.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm saying it wrong. Am I saying that right, guys? Mm-hmm. No, I'm not saying it right. Council of State. That's what I'm trying to say. So you're talking about amazing people. For Commissioner of Labor, Jessica mm-hmm. Holmes. She's been a champion on the county level with second chances. She did something really brave a few years back, her first years in office. She did something really, really brave. And what she did that was really brave is that she was a standalone commissioner who saw some things that were going on over in Roseville, North Carolina. You guys remember about the student who was hurt and slammed? She pulled community together and said, let's have a conversation, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. Stood alone all by herself at the time when she was on the board. Some of the people that's on the county commissioners was on there, but she moved forward and she did this to bring community together. Chatter in the community was like, why is she doing that? But she did it, and she followed her heart, which means she was looking out for everybody right. and wanting to make sure that all citizens were okay. And I believe that Jessica will do that for being the Commissioner of Labor. I believe she will continue to look out for everybody and make some smart decisions and some smart moves. Folks like Yvonne Lewis Harley. I'm looking at my ballot in case people don't know. So I find this ballot in your early voting. You have to be a part of my party to get all that though. But listen, you know, I want to ask a question. It's kind of taboo, but can we talk about it? And I'm just going to do it because I want to tell the truth. Do we really think the media that we're hearing around Cal Cunningham matters?
No.
I think it's been evident in how people are responding there. First of all, there is no moral authority in place to even remotely make that relevant. At the end of the day, like what that man does in his private life, I'm looking at what does he do for my community? Like right. That's between him and his God or his wife or whomever, right? You know, but I'm cautioned that people who live in glass houses and who throw rocks, okay? I'm serious, and we are definitely are in a whole different place where that is one issue that I don't think anyone could raise and be able to, cast some moral judgment about anything. But I am very particular about us judging what people are actually doing that's going to impact our lives. I
Yeah.
don't sleep with the man. I don't know nobody that sleep with the man. So, so that's
You know what?
irrelevant.
You know what I think? And Casey, I'm sorry. Just roll with me for a moment, okay?
Yeah. Oh
And it's
no.
okay for you to be Casey. But this is
Okay.
the thing. People are looking for presidents to be pastors in faith communities.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
not our pastor.
No, this is not a theocracy. This is not
Right.
what they are here to govern. They are here to do a different role. We go to church for absolution and all that other kind of stuff. We vote for people to govern us. And you're absolutely no. Well, let me back up.
Back it up. Back it up,
So
Alicia.
the thing that's a challenge is while they do that, and I've noticed the recent split among the evangelicals. You heard about
Yes.
the lady that does the nuns on the bus, and she did the recent ad where
Yeah.
they were breaking. So it's like, we care about the unborn, but we care about those folks that are here born too. And she was talking about making the whole thing with the folks on the
Right.
border and stuff like that. And so, there's this moral indignation that folks have, but when you pull the cover back, that it's incongruent with the lives that they live. What are you doing for your constituents? You're
Right.
sitting in this seat and you're not serving your people. Just like, Pastor Barber, that he has talked a lot about, but in his Poor People's Campaign, it's like, okay, you're supposed to be doing this. You want someone to be some Jesus Jr., but you're not serving the people with the power that you have. And so I think that this whole thing of trying to muddy Cal Cunningham's name for the sake of just, trying to rile people up. And I think they're trying to go after the evangelicals, which is a major voting bloc.
Yeah.
That they were trying to break that down. And I honestly think it fell flat.
It did.
I honestly think it fell flat, and they didn't get the, oh my God, clutch the pearls response before you realize, the leader of our free world, right?
I think at this point, a lot of people aren't interested in, they've got their focus. People are focused, and that's a distractor.
Yeah.
And they're not interested in that.
Yep.
I think right now you probably have not only the most, the largest number of people who are interested in going out and voting, but they're also educated in what they're doing. People are paying attention. I think, Toshiba, I feel like you and I talked about this at some point. Who at this point is undecided?
Yeah.
You don't have people who are undecided.
No.
I saw folks actually post on Facebook that said, "Hey, here's my friend's sign in the yard this year. Same people live here, but a different sign." And it was a person who left as a Trump supporter and now became a Biden-Harris supporter. And so I think people are, and I think that there are some people, I think people do need to be realistic though. I'm seeing a lot of poll numbers and stuff. And remember, these polls, we thought these polls mattered in 2018. They didn't matter.
That's true.
And it flipped. Now, a lot of us in community wasn't surprised at what happened because people get comfortable. And I think the thing that I want to encourage people tonight, stop getting comfortable. Understand that you as a citizen really do hold this power. And one of the things that I think sometimes makes me sad, believe it or not, I get sad, is for that people do not recognize that the right to vote, the right person in office literally does change their life. And if we continue to keep being comfortable and not create strategic plans the same way that I'm going to call it out tonight, because I'm not endorsed by anybody. I can do what I want. But the reason why the Republicans took over the legislature in the NC House and Senate was because they strategically planned. And the other thing is they ignite their base. So I'm gonna pull some Candace Owens tonight, but on the other side, I'm gonna be a Democrat because she proudly shares that she is a Republican. But let me tell you something. I want to speak to my Democratic officers. While I love you, while I might vote for you primarily on these partisan situations, if you don't start speaking to your base, if you don't start igniting your base, stop towing the lines. We have, if we look, I meant to look that up before I got on this call with y'all. But everybody knows it. Everyone knows that there are more Democratic registered participants than there are Republicans. Am I wrong?
No, you're right. But see, that's the problem.
Why do we keep catering?
We are going out there and people are voting, but the system is set up to make it harder for certain groups to vote. You know this?
Yes.
And so you have to get people in office who are going to fix that. But in order to do it, you have to have 3 times the number of people show up to vote, so that hopefully at least 2/3 of those will count.
Right. Well, I think too, we gotta make sure we stress, which is why you don't get time off for good behavior, Ms. Toshiba, is the primaries, right? That's when we have to get behind people who have integrity, and not just because they have a D at the end of their name. Because the reality is, I mean, we do. You think about it. Because what happens is it's going to come down to a binary choice, and sometimes it's between the devil you know and the devil you don't, right? And we get at that point where we struggle, and we may push through someone that ends up being a lame duck, if you will, through the process or what have you. But it's the primary process that most people say, well, I'll just end up voting for whoever is the Democrat that comes out of it. And it may not be a good representation of what you need in your community. That's where I think we dropped the ball, because you got to remember, even with Clinton, by her winning the popular vote, she had the numbers, but because of gerrymandering and all the other things, that we didn't put up viable opponents to go up against those other parties, that we failed. Like, at the end of the day, we expect our candidates to be our gods, but we have to do some legwork. We have to, when they get in office, then make them do what they said that they were going to do. We don't just get to sit down just because they got that seat. Then we got to go in there and say, here are your campaign promises. And if I have to sit up there and show up at your office and call and send letters and do all these things and ignite folks to make you do what you said you need to do, then that's part of our job too, that we've got to take some responsibility if we have these lackluster people in office who just sit there and collect a salary.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's where I am at this point in my life, is trying to help ignite people and hold these elected officials accountable. Every elected official, I'm serving you notice, that I voted for and sent people suggestions to vote for, and they did. We're coming to make sure you do what you said you would do. And some of you aren't even saying what you're going to do, but I'm going to make sure you do what I need you to do as a citizen for myself and for the safety of my children, of my grandchildren, and my great-grandchildren.
Absolutely.
Because my life can no longer hang in the balance that police officers can pull people out of cars, that police officers could stop people whenever they want. They can be rude. They can be disrespectful. I watched today, as I was getting ready to pick up someone that I support in mental health, I watched this. As we were crossing the stoplight, I watched a person who we see people, I think, possibly panhandle all the time, but I watched 3 police cars come from one little scrawny old man, getting ready to surround and escalate for whatever reason. And we were at the light for a minute so I could see what was going on prior to, you know what I'm saying? And it was a particular side of town that I was on, for one. And I'm like, why are you bringing 3 and 4 police cars for one situation.
When really all they need to do is call one social worker
Mm.
to go out and talk to the guy.
Yeah,
Just one.
this one. Yeah,
Or
and
create
even more
more
so
affordable
too,
housing.
we got to also think about the judges who are going to sit on the bench for
Mm.
generations and pervert our law.
Listen, I love what you said since you said judges. And let me tell you a lady that I'm impressed with that's on this, Sherry Beasley.
Yeah,
I'm impressed with her. I was going to try to see if I
yes.
could get her to come on and talk. Not to, and her and the Laura Cubbage out of Greensboro. These are some impressive women.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I really wanted to talk with Chief Justice Sherry Beasley and speak with her in a dialogue was really to hear more of her breaking down the statements that she made in reference to the judicial North Carolina system as Chief Justice. When Floyd's situation happened and so many other things happened, she came out and she made a statement. She was doing her job. So it's not to really, so if anyone who knows Chief Justice Beasley, I've been on some in
Mm-hmm.
some Zoom meetings and stuff with her talking. I just think she's a brilliant lady
Mm-hmm.
whom, and I got to ask some questions and I was impressed how she answered my question. She didn't even divert my question like so many other candidates will do.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
She really answered the question, and I was
Mm-hmm.
impressed with the fact that she answered the question. And it was an answer that I needed to hear, which was no, if judges really should kind of be there over their courtroom. She just stated facts. She wasn't trying to be, to be impressive with anyone. And we need what you just said, Alicia. We need judges to really run their courtrooms. When you see that stuff is not right, when you see deals are made, and I don't know the laws behind it, and maybe we can pull an attorney on here sometimes to kind of walk us through systems. And maybe I have to pull one that's not from our region so they won't be scared. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
sorry. Casey's on here. Casey's making me cut up.
Sorry.
But I mean, seriously, because we need to see change. And so I really
Mm-hmm.
honestly
Mm-hmm.
wanted to have a dialogue. And I'm still going to see if I can reach out to her, see if we can have a dialogue about breaking down her statements and what she said. Only her words, what she said. What does that mean about judicial stepping up and doing more? You know what I'm saying? I just want
Yeah.
to really know I just want to unpack that statement to understand what that means for citizens across North Carolina. So she's another one that I thought was pretty impressive to vote for too. I know I'm not saying everybody. Josh Stein and stuff. Of course, he's been Attorney General for a while. I would like to see
Mm-hmm.
Josh do a little bit more around. Sorry, Josh, social justice.
Mm-hmm.
And I know he sits on the governor's social justice stuff. And I know these people are some powerful people, and I'm calling their names out, but sorry. I really would like, I know he's done some great work around the rape kits. I know he's done some great work. I mean, he does great work. I'm not knocking the work that he does. He does, sue and things like that and put North Carolina, he protects the citizens to do what we need to do to protect us around certain things that Attorney General should do. But I would like to see him do a little bit more around social justice.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that we've sent quite a few folks the civilian justice bill, but I would like to, I really do. That is something I'll be quiet about that. I'm gonna be quiet. I know not to poke the bears.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, for another time. And it's not tonight. It's maybe after the election.
It was, so I voted today. Only had to wait for an hour. My husband waited for over 3 hours in the rain.
Oh wow.
I know. Yeah. He was dedicated to the cause.
Yeah. And we all have to be the little discomfort that we experience now, and looking at how much is at stake, like literally, not just what we're experiencing now, but for generations. Because, like you said, we've got to flip these Senate seats, and we've got to, look at how we're going to do judicial reform. But we need people who are in position to put there so that we can have some balance and equity. And so I think that, I went last Friday, and it was raining too. But it was just like I took my little chair and sat there and made sure my battery was full on my phone.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, but it's just like this is probably the most important election I voted in my life.
Yeah.
But when you look back at your
serious.
ballot, you see all of those women on that ballot. I mean, I looked after I filled mine out, I went back and looked at it, and I was just floored.
And I'm only looking at my ballot too. I have to mention amazing woman on school board, Christine Kushner, who's in my district. And again, guys, some people I'm not naming because they're not on my ballot. I'm just referring to my ballot. And this other woman is not on my ballot either, but Monica isn't on my ballot. But yeah, Casey, that's pretty something. We're seeing some movement. I know that you love women folks.
I do.
Oh, yes.
I do. It makes me super happy. 100 years since women got the right to vote. It's even different for women of color. I mean, it's way less. I mean, way less than 100 years. It's crazy to me to think that when my grandmother was born, she couldn't have voted. That like blows my mind.
Exactly.
So, when I see people who are just like, I'm not going to vote, I'm like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with the women of today. I'm pretty impressed. I want to remind people of When We All Vote. That organization, they have the Election Protection Hotline, which is 866 Our Vote, the Election Protection Hotline, 866 Our Vote. I noticed that Michelle Obama is one of their co-chairs. They have quite a few other celebrities, so I see now why she's always, promoting and pushing that. So she's, ingrained in that organization, and we need that. And I think it's very powerful. I've been voting for many years, and I must say I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of you women for voting. And so before we get off tonight, I want to ask two last questions. What does it look like if we vote? No, let's start this because we're going to leave on a positive note. What does it look like if we don't vote?
My anxiety meds are not enough for me to be able to think about that.
Right. It's see that right there. That's why we keep Alicia on the line. That if we don't vote, it's just my thing is if we don't vote, we won't begin to push progressive movements in our policy and our laws, because we're going to continue in the same process. And I'm actually fearful. I see people, and I have heard people share their experiences about racism and behaviors from people who engage in racist behavior or whatever the case may be. And people are getting bold. And I think that if we don't vote, I think we're going to see something that we've never seen before, even from the 60s, from the 50s. I think we're going to see something even a little bit more detrimental. And increase those.
If you look at, I was messing around with my husband the other day, and I was making a slight joke of it, but then it wasn't funny. And the whole thing with Gretchen and the kidnapping and stuff. And I was like, is that what we're doing now? When we disagree with someone, we just decide we're going to put them like we just decide that, we're going to make up our own law. And I am fearful about emboldening people who have this irrational thinking pattern. Like,
Mhm.
Casey, you say you don't have enough meds. I don't know if there's some meds out there for some folks. I mean, there's a whole lot of undiagnosed people out there. Trust and belief, right? And everybody's not med compliant that is diagnosed. But
Yeah.
my concern is that we are beginning to normalize because we no longer are doing dog whistles, we're doing bullhorns, right?
Oh,
And
wow.
so we're empowering and because it comes close to home, and so even with me, my days typically end at 8 o'clock. And so now being aware as I'm coming out of the building, finishing my clients for the day, I'm typically one of the last people to leave coming out of Fuquay. Am I concerned about going down 401, being stopped on that long road,
Mhm.
being, and this is now a reality, right? This is
Yeah.
not a rational thinking. I'm not having hallucinations because people are being emboldened to think that they can do this. And there are folks like the Breonna Taylor situation. If there wasn't a drumbeat for we need to see this, that there's this sleight of hand that happens. And that is real. As I talk to my clients, the difference between there's true mental health and then there's this other stuff. And the symptoms look really, really similar in
Mhm.
trying to tease those things out. And I think everyone is experiencing that other stuff that I can't tell them. Okay, so we're going to talk about, these automatic negative thoughts. We're going to talk about, going through your little crisis plan. I don't have a crisis plan. That's a crisis that we deal with every day. And so if we don't vote and stem the tide and say, no, this is enough, in 4 years, my mind cannot fathom where people of black and brown color will be,
Mhm.
that it'll be like in Georgia, in Forsyth County, where you don't get caught out at night. That there's a sense of emboldenment of law enforcement, what they could do to your twins just because they've been emboldened to do that. They've been given the bullhorn and not the dog whistle, and then they'll go into the legal system where all of that gets subverted, where there's no equity in the justice system when they get charged for these things, or when you see them harass someone who's just out there peddling.
Yeah.
That stuff is real. So if we don't, I mean, we will slide back so easily, and I feel like that there will be an outrage from these underserved communities, that I think all kinds of things will go up. That
Right.
that there will be violence in our communities, because people will feel hopeless, and if you have no hope, you have nothing.
That's a bad place to be. So listen, we're going to shift that and say, what happens if we do? What can we hope for if we do go out there and vote for great people like Commissioner Adams and Christine Kushner's of the world, and Elaine Marshalls and Jessica Holmes and Beth
Yeah.
Woods and Josh Steins and Lucy Inmans? And what happens when we really, really vote and we did it? What happens?
I think we start to see that change on the local level. I think that's where it starts. And I mean, Sheba, I'm a huge progressive, super liberal, and 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 I think this is our chance. People are voting, they're coming and they're voting for president because this is the year, and so this is
Hmm.
when you get them. And maybe this is where it starts, because
Yeah.
you've got kids who are going out and working the polls, these 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. They're getting involved early. This is the start of something really cool.
Right. I agree. I believe that there is hope if we
Yeah.
vote, if we turn the tide. I believe that we will. I saw Diane Powell talked about putting boots on the ground and lit dropping. I know that so many candidates are doing lit
Hmm.
dropping. Please go help these candidates. Some of my preferable candidates that I may have just named. If you want to help, let me know. I can connect you to these people. Um, I know people are, Tawana says people are getting bold and not voting will have a significant negative impact on people of color. Everybody, this is ringing true. If we all vote, I believe we can change this thing. We will make our communities for the better. And all we have to do from that point on, if you say that you are a part of a party who believes that everyone should be treated fairly, let's hold them to the fire.
Yes.
And I believe we should hold them to the fire, and we should make them create policies and programs that keep all North Carolinians safe.
We have the numbers.
Yeah, we got the numbers. Ignite your base.
We got the numbers.
Ignite your own base. Be progressive. Stop towing the line. Be what you say you're going to be, and do it unapologetically. The same way they do it. Do it unapologetically. Listen, I appreciate you, Casey Corridor, and the things you're doing.
I appreciate you.
Thank y'all. I love y'all. Thank you, Alicia, for joining me as always. Listen, everybody out there on Facebook and YouTube, what are you doing on Tuesday nights at 9? You're having a talk with T. Rice. Until we speak, have a positive